Sorry, it's kind of late. Honestly forgot that I usually stream on Fridays. And this won't be a long one. Sort of why I'm not doing Elden Ring, sort of I need a break from Elden Ring. I was playing it earlier though, just trying to
Yes.
get my character more powerful so I can finish off the series. But I am exploring new areas. I feel bad about that because I held a poll and asked people, you know, if they wanted to see everything. They did say yes, but it's just kind of dragging. And I'm getting to a point where I'm starting to not like the game. I had fun when I played earlier, but it's starting to drag on me. So I just need to get it to a point where I can put a pin in it before it starts to... yeah. So that involves me doing stuff off camera, including exploring some areas. Nothing too major. It sort of gets repetitive after a while. Not to say that the dungeons aren't cool, but it's like, oh, this is another one of those tunnels where I get more smithing stones and yada yada. Fun to play through, but I think like yeah, let's see. I think I don't have to show all that. It's a little much. I mean, my other characters are 100-something hours in. And I just want to get more powerful because I wouldn't say I'm the best at Elden Ring. And I just want to make sure I can finish the series in a timely fashion. And I think the next time I stream Elden Ring, of course it's right there. The last few times I've been trying to do that dungeon, I have had difficulty finding it, and I'd find it right as I'd have to, like, call it. It's like, okay, I have to stop playing Diablo. Oh, look, there's the dungeon. Anyways, this is my murder build, as I call it. This is not what I will be streaming, but yes, I will be streaming Diablo, as this description says. Oneshot, Goth Goofy, all of them. We did Diablo back in the day. We did it as a hardcore, very loose hardcore. And I want to turn my attention to finishing up some old series. So, not to scare people, it's like he's starting another one? Yeah, but no. This is me trying to finish up some loose ends. So once Goth gets his computer fixed... Hey, is Goofy going to be playing? Yes, he will. So, yes, once he gets his computer fixed, and after a few days, when I am allowed to gift you this game, I mean, his computer's going to take longer to fix anyways. But yes, once we all have this game, we'll start the series again. But my plan, since you're here there, Oneshot, and I can tell you, my plan is that we're going to sort of get up to the point that we were when we stopped streaming or uploading, which is the end of Act 1. And then we'll pick it up on Act 2 and just try to finish it up. I mean, we may not be like exactly the same characters and stuff, but I feel like that would be a good way to do that series. Yes, I will! Hey, it's Goth! It's nice to see you two here. But yes, I'm excited. This is one of the characters that I've been... Actually, I started this build back in the original Diablo 2. I mean, I'm still the Druid, but I'm focusing on using the ravens and stuff. I'm not the werebear. Get my PC back shortly. Just dropped 8K to get all that nice... Dude, nice! I mean, I can't gift Oneshot this game into a few days anyways. AK? Jeebus, yeah. Your computer better be a fucking beast when you get it back. But yeah, this is what it's going to look like when we do it this time, fellas. And we won't have to worry about, like, rescaling, because as you can see, this is native widescreen. But an interesting feature for people who like the nostalgia and stuff is you can go back and forth between the remaster and, well, these graphics if you really want to. Now I look like the 90s. It's so jarring, but it's really cool. And for me, having played this game since I was a wee lad, I like this. But let's go back to the good graphics, shall we? I think it's a fun feature, but... Damn, there's so much lightning. It's ridiculous. This act, by the way, sucks. Let's see. Getting the new 3090 and the newest i9. I have the OG Diablo too. Oh, I see. Hardcore Diablo? I'm thinking we'll probably just stick to regular Diablo when we do it. I mean, when we did the hardcore, I wasn't strict enough with the rules, so whatever. But, I don't know. I feel like it would just be nice to get to Diablo and beat him for a series and not necessarily have to stress out about permadeath, especially since, well, it's not our first time playing, but, you know, we're not exactly Diablo vets. I am, but let's see. Game on PC, okay. Didn't he already have it? Yeah, he had the OG. So the difference, well, as you can see, the graphics are really different. They have done balancing changes, which would be hard to describe. But for example, let me show you my Ravens. So my Ravens have 20 hits right now. Normally I would have to have the skill like 15 before they would have 20 hits. And also they wouldn't be doing nearly as much damage as they are right now. So they reworked some of the skills. They're going to continue to do that. But mostly it's just a graphical thing. They honestly didn't want to change a whole lot. But that said, you can't play the old version of the game with the new characters. A thing that's nice, though, is that it has cloud saving, so you can actually take your characters. It's not cross-play, but you can take characters that you make, say, on a PlayStation, and then you can play it on the PC. And as long as they're online, the data transfers. So I won't lose my character again, which has been my issue whenever I've done the series, is I don't finish it fast enough, and then my PC would break, and then I would lose all the data. And I was like, I don't want to restart everything right now. Let's see, I have this difference. I'm going to build a new rig pretty soon. That's awesome. My laptop should still run Remastered Diablo 2. Alright, heading back to work. Talk to you later. Thank you so much for dropping by, though, there, Goth. It's nice to see you, bud. Hope work goes well. But yeah, I mean, this isn't the most taxing. I mean, the graphics are decent, but it's not like the highest end for this generation. And I'm not sure if this would make it so it lowered its processing power. Part of me tells me kinda not, because you sort of have to be able to jump back and forth. But maybe it would lessen it a little bit. So, like, if need be, you could always lower the graphics to this. But honestly, I like the changes they've made. They just made stuff that was not really that viable more viable, and they're just going to continue to do so. The only thing that I don't like about it is that they promised they weren't really going to mess with things much. And they sort of kept that promise, but then they're like, yeah, now we're going to mess with everything. It's like, guys, you did just say that you weren't going to change anything besides, like, the graphics. I personally think what they should do, because you can already swap back and forth between here, is you should just be able to choose if you want to play OG Diablo 2 or if you want to play with the balance changes. And if I know there's like a ladder, which is like seasonal stuff, and if you want to make sure that everyone's on equal footing, I get it. You might just want to make it so you have to play the updated version to do ladder characters. But I feel like that's a good mix. That way people who just want their old school Diablo get to keep that, but people who might want the more updated can play the update. There you go. Man, I didn't even attack that itchy, that last attack. Which is a shame. That attack is pretty mana heavy. I need to get my mana back up. Which for me, I think I get mana on hit, which is nice. But yeah, so this is... I was honestly thinking maybe playing this build when I played with you guys, because it's been doing pretty well, but I looked online and Summoner Druid is considered really good early game. The issue is they don't scale well. The thing that's in a benefit for me though is they're trying to rework summoning, so it's more viable endgame, which would be great, because summoning is pretty damn awesome. But the issues that it has is that it doesn't scale, because there's a limit to how strong it gets, which is how much points you pump into it. And it can go pretty far. Like right now, the Ravens are doing 10 to 12 damage, which if all 5 of them hit a target, that's 50 to 55, which is not bad at all. Compared to my attack is like 39 to 73. So they're doing around the same damage that I am. But like later on, that isn't as much. Obviously I'd upgrade it. It just doesn't ultimately end up being strong enough to handle the stuff in later difficulties. It doesn't hit hard enough. And mostly it's their survivability, which the Raven build is actually good for that, because the only issue is that they wouldn't hit as hard, and there's physical immunities, but the Ravens can't get hit by attacks. So we don't have to worry about them like just getting randomly ganked all the time. I hate these beetles, by the way. All these scarabs have the mechanic of when you hit them, they launch lightning, which can easily shred you. Lightning's scary, because... Oh, in Diablo, lightning damage is high minimum, high maximum. I mean, low minimum, high maximum. Meaning that you could do a lot of damage with it. It's just a gamble. But that said, law of averages is you usually end up somewhere in the middle, which is usually pretty damn decent damage when compared to other damage types. So lightning is actually like the scariest element in this game. Let's see, this game really wants you to play with other people, huh? Right? Yeah, kind of. I mean, this game came out early 2000s, so the internet was starting to become more widely available. Oh, I teleported. But it's always been more fun with people. Even the original Diablo had like couch co-op and stuff. I'm not sure if online... That was like late 90s, so they may have not built for online multiplayer. Are you going to land? There we go. But yes, Diablo is always more fun with people, and I feel like they want you to play with people. Oh man, I love rabies. So the skill that I've been doing when I run up to attack them, and I like bite, is called rabies, which is one of the strongest poison skills in the game. basically what it does is it spreads to targets. So you attack one person, and then poison spreads to the group. And then the next thing you know, you've done poison damage to the whole group. So this build, back on the original Diablo, in other words, back into lightning magic, yes. The only thing is you don't want to over-spec because enemies, especially on later difficulties, start to have immunities to damage. So if you over-spec into like one element, if you come across something that's immune to that element, you're pretty much SOL. Even if you're like a melee character, because there's physical immunities, you should make sure you have some capacity to do another damage type. Even if it's not a whole lot, a little bit would mean that you can actually still hurt things as opposed to being completely useless. Entering the Lost City, this is where we have to go. You notice that it's been nighttime for a while. I mean, this is the desert, so it's usually daytime, but midway through this act you get to this town, and then it becomes permanently night because it's actually been cursed by the Claw Vipers. So right now I have to go to Claw Viper City. I have to go there anyway to collect a piece of the Hydrogic staff. Not Hydrogic. I didn't keep it with me. But this Horadric. It's a weird word. That thing. So I'm building the staff so I can fight Diablo. But I will say they're one shot. When I played a sorceress, I went with lightning magic. Fire is just, even on low difficulty, fire immunity is rather common. So building into fire was always kind of meh. And frost, I mean, frost thing is it's more crowd control because it doesn't do terrible damage. It does less damage than the other elements, but you get to freeze things. Don't get me wrong, still good. Get poisoned, and I don't mean me, I don't want to get poisoned. But yeah. Originally, this build that I have going on, though, I didn't have the wolves, because I needed to invest more into the ravens. That said, I was playtesting it, and on normal, it was doing just fine. I think people just underestimate the ravens, because it's like, oh, it's kind of low damage and whatever, but they're guaranteed to hit. But another thing is, I'm not sure how well it synergizes with late game items. I would think frost equals slow. Exactly. And that slow, it's pretty damn devastating. So you could use frost to slow enemies and then have your team do damage. Yes. Or, because usually you can do 2 skill trees pretty decently. You could do frost to slow them and then you'd hit them with like fire or lightning. I don't think fire would melt them. This game came out in the 90s after all, early 2000s, so they didn't really have a lot of, like, synergistic effects like that. Like, oh, frost and fire will cancel out. It might, though, now that I think about it. But I'm pretty sure it doesn't. Fire's, as a damage type, though, it's just more reliable. So this is part of the reason why you bring the cube with you. It actually gives you more inventory space. Because it costs 4, but it gives you like, what is that? That's 6. 6 plus 3, 3. So 6 plus 6, 12 spaces. But yeah, frost is still pretty good. And fire had an interesting skill called Hydra, which allowed you to summon a turret. And it was nice. It's just ultimately fire is kind of, it was resisted way too much. And it's like, that's like one of those things, logically it makes sense, I'm fighting the forces of hell, but in terms of game design, or like, yeah, it's kind of stinks mechanically. Because it's like, great, I have completely devoted myself to a character that's just not going to be able to hurt things. I'm not sure how much frost is resisted, though. I mean, part of the thing about Diablo is that you beat the game and then you play it again, but on harder difficulty, and it has another difficulty after that. So a lot of people consider, like, Diablo doesn't actually begin until you beat the game once. But usually you just have to beat it once. Like, beating it the second time just gives you the harder difficulty. But once you beat it once, you get access to, I'm just going to resummon all 5. You get access to a lot of things like rune words, which runes are special jewels that you can socket into your equipment. And if you do it in a specific order, you will get 7% damage taken goes to mana. It's not terrible. Or resistance is 5. Oh, resistance is 5 is a little bit better. I forgot what I was saying. Great. I randomly got super tired. I should go back to town though.
Hello. Good day.
Yeah, the game thinks that all resistance is 5 is pretty top notch. I sort of have to agree. 6 life? I didn't drop it, I sold it. Dumb game. I know I probably should save the jewels, but I have like so many that it's sort of ridiculous. Oh, I can get chainmail now? Hell yeah. My armor is better. Admittedly, it's just better because I have armor. Excuse me, that has enhanced defense, but that's kind of disappointing. I've also been using these gloves since pretty much Act 1, but they are pretty damn sick gloves. What do you have for staffs? Does this game allow you to deal bleed? No. Unfortunately, that would be a fun status effect. Especially since an Elden Ring is busted. But even without that, it would just be fun. No, the status effects are fire, cold, lightning, poison. Fire doesn't have a status effect, it's just high damage. Well, medium damage. It does like consistent damage. Bleed is amazing in most games. Yeah. One of my issues with RPGs is that a lot of the times the status effects just do the same thing. Like bleed, damage over time. Poison, damage over time. Yeah, that kind of a thing. I do appreciate in Elden Ring that the status effects do different things. Like poison is slow damage over time, Scarlet Rot is high damage over time, and bleed is like a really high once proc. But I do like bleed. It also tends to be like physical damage or whatever. So like things that have elemental resistances in the games are not resistant to bleed. But yeah. The core of this build is the ravens, the werewolf, and the rabies. Which sort of turns it into a druid rogue. The ravens can blind enemies so they can't see me. And then they're dealing consistent damage because they're pecking that, because they're constantly attacking. And they can't be destroyed either. What did this look like in Legacy? Like this. Wow. But yeah, pretty much, I don't even have to hang out with enemies. So you notice I don't do that most of the time. But I don't want to do that in this act because, goddamn, they hit hard. We have zombies. That means there's probably mummies in here. Mummies are like the enemies from the first act that can resurrect enemies. I lost a thing. Didn't even realize. I don't think this is one of the dungeons that I have to do. I think this is a side dungeon. I think. I might be wrong. I will say that the more that I play Act 2, the more I realize it's my least favorite act. Like, the desert theme is kind of cool, but it does lead to a lot of areas that are kind of, have a lack of landmarks, so it can be hard to navigate. And plus, everything in this act does a lot of damage. I remember it being a pain. Yeah, we ended off here, right? I don't remember finishing up the sewers. But as you can probably tell, this character is more about damage. The ravens do like consistent damage because there's nothing that enemies can do to stop them. Pretty much how they function is they can't get attacked, but they only get so many hits before they disappear. And universally, they were considered one of the worst skills in the summoning tree. You only put a point into them to get to access to the other parts of the summoning tree. So it's like, I want to make a build around them. And I did. The only issue was it required a lot of points invested into them, but they weren't bad. Honestly, it was a build where I kind of just ran in, and I would poison things and then would run away, and then let the ravens attack them. So it's like a constant damage. And yeah, like I was a druid rogue, because the ravens would blind them so they couldn't see me, and then I would just like run and I'd backstab them with like poison, and then I would run away. So it's the point of squishy archer. Yes, you were rather squishy. Oh, I'm poisoned. That was freaking me out for a second. This shield is... Holy shit, that shield! Oh my god. That... I love that shield. Did I drink a potion on accident? No, I didn't. I mean, just check out this beast. 53 defense, 62% chance to block, adds 1 to 6 lightning damage, 57 enhanced defense, 30 defense, lightning resistance a quarter, magic damage reduced by 1, an attacker takes 3 lightning damage. Good evening from Toronto, welcome! Hey, Michael Furberger. It's nice to see you there, dude. How are you doing? But yeah, just check out the shield. How does it look? How did it look before? It's not that special looking, but hey, it's badass, and that's what's more important. Can my follower use this pointy stick?
I'll put that to good use.
You sure can. Don't think I want him to use this one. Because that's 4 to 9. 4 to 9 to 1 and 11. Jeez and crow. That can do decent damage. But this does 15 to 23. So let's see. If I'm doing 11, that'd be 15 to 20. 20. Right, yeah. So this is a little bit better consistency with damage.
I'll put that to good use.
But I wonder, could I use that?
I can't use that.
Okay, that's the only reason why I would really switch over.
Put that to good use.
Howdy. Awesome. Hello from California. Well, hello, California. Christopher James, I don't believe I'm familiar with that name. Is this a hardcore character? This is a regular character. It's someone that I was just playing on my free time because I wanted to test out this build. When we were playing before with this series, we were doing a hardcore series, and I'm debating whether or not we should do hardcore again or not, because my other two friends, they've played Diablo with me, but that's pretty much their only exposure. And I'm just wondering if it would be better not to have the added stress of potentially dying. I will say hardcore is a lot of fun. Nice. Yeah. So I'm not sure how much of a Diablo player you are. But basically I actually made this build because Ravens is universally considered one of the worst skills for Druids. And I wanted to see if I could actually make it work. I haven't got into hard yet. I haven't beaten the game. So I have no idea how it's going to work end game. But thus far it's not too bad. But, yeah. The first playthrough is not that difficult, all things considered. And I'd have to get up there. That said, I'm really digging the Ravens. They can blind, but they've also buffed them, so they last longer and they do more damage than they used to, which is very nice. Makes it so I can actually have things like the wolves. So I have like a little wolf pack going on with the Ravens. And yeah, most of the time I just run in, I poison things with rabies, and then I run away and I let the Ravens just kill them. It's not bad. Well, let's see. What is this stuff? Have you beaten this game before there, Christopher? I almost sold the shield. No. I'm not going to really use it with this character, but that shield must be saved. Oh man, I have a bunch of just random crap that I'm like, this could be good for other characters. Maybe. I lost the thing. Time to resummon all my ravens though. I forgot just how quick your inventory fills up though. Like, goddamn. I do kind of wish I had a little bit more space. I'll just identify this with the scroll because I'm origating way too much. Boom. And then, oh, you're not the bank. You're the bank. But yeah, I haven't ever beaten Diablo. The farthest that I've gotten is Diablo himself. So I got there when I was a kid, and he killed me. He wasn't a hardcore character, but I was a kid. I didn't know how to build characters, so my guy was just a collection of skills that was really like my armor was getting me through shit. So when I lost that, I was kind of done. So focus you to prioritize items and sell the rest. Yeah, I mean the major issue with their one-shot is just how much loot you get. I mean, look over here. I'm rubber banding. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things just right there. Admittedly, those are all potions, so they're just one thing, one slot. But you get like tons of loot, so you just end up going to town so frequently. But that said, like, I'm at a point where I wouldn't really have to pick up like regular loot. I know my brother likes it because he's like, it makes it more realistic. I'm like, not everything should be about realism though, you know? There has to be like a healthy balance between gameplay mechanics and making sure it's not too frustrating for the player. And yeah, some realism isn't bad. But like, for example, that I would use for that, it's like horses in Horses in Breath of the Wild versus horses in Ghost of Tsushima. So, horses in Breath of the Wild are super realistic in the sense like you can leave them behind. When you whistle, they may not necessarily hear you. If you teleport to a new area on the map, they don't teleport with you, so you don't have them. But none of that is fun or makes me really want to have a horse in that game. There's some exceptions, like Epona will teleport with you, and you can get armor that you can put on your horse, which in my personal opinion makes your horse look kind of doofy, but then it will teleport with you. When it is too realistic, it often ends up not being fun. Exactly. So like, horses, really realistic in Breath of the Wild, not fun. Whereas in Ghost of Tsushima, there's like a whistle mechanic, and the horse will just run to you from off screen. But the thing is, that makes it so it's not immersion breaking, and yet it's convenient to the player. So it's like a mix of realism with a little bit of a gamey thing, because admittedly, like, your horse wouldn't necessarily always be there. But the game gives an explanation, which is they're samurai horses, and they're just trained to always be readily available. And that's all I need. Now I'm immersed in the world, and that's really all you need from realism, is to make it so your illusion of disbelief isn't shattered. So kind of like Red Dead 2 kind of horses. Oh, I haven't played much of Red Dead 2. Tell me about it, Hawaiian. How are they like in Red Dead 2? I think this was an optional dungeon. I'm not seeing anywhere else that it can go. Yeah, I explored it fully too. But that's okay. Optional dungeons means extra experience. Extra experience means more levels. And more levels means that I get to kick Diablo's ass. I will say my brother absolutely loves Red Dead, though. He's like, it's so amazing, you have to play it. And I'll admit that, like, in terms of theming, it does a really good job in putting you in the Wild West. But they're just not my kind of game. Like, the Grand Theft Auto games, they're fun to mess around with at friends' houses, but they're not games that I'm actually too invested in. For one, I don't really like being the criminal or the bad guy, so playing out like a fantasy where I get to be this big criminal is kind of like, eh. I don't even really care for driving either, so that's another eh. And yeah, like, the worlds were immersive, but otherwise than that, didn't have a whole lot to drive me in. Which is not to say that the Grand Theft Auto games are necessarily bad. I know Rockstar sort of has a bad reputation at the moment. Which unfortunately so does Blizzard. But that said, from my understanding, how Blizzard bills things is based on the game itself. So the team that works on that game, the sales for that game go to them. And thusly, like, Diablo, the team that worked on Diablo wasn't as hit with the scandal. For those of you who don't know, Blizzard was the center of a sexual harassment scandal. Let's see, my problem is that I like to master things, so I get bored with open world games. That's fair. I actually do like open world. Kind of like sandbox things, like Prototype, Destroy All Humans, things that you just get to run around, mess stuff up. They just kind of chill. I think I want to go to the City of Snakes. That makes sense, because I'm trying to go to the Claw Viper Temple, and that seems like it would be in the City of Snakes. Oh, this is so cool. Like, how this act looks is still pretty solid, but see, I play like a goody good. And oh yes, I play like a goody good too. And actually the most fun I had in Grand Theft Auto was
Snakes. I hate snakes.
Really, Druid? Mr. Nature Man hates snakes. Okay. And then we have this thing over here. But yeah, it's like I like to. It's like I want to like those games, but after a while, I'm like, what's the point? And that's fair. I mean, especially Minecraft. The point of that is just to chill out and to build things like you want. But I'm not a huge Minecraft guy. And I would say, like, I'm not drawn to open world games. I'm just not. Like, it's sort of a neutral point to me. I don't care for them and I don't hate them. Actually, what draws me more to a game is the multiplayer. I like doing co-op. Because then I get to hang out with friends and we get to have a good time. It's nice. Like, even this game. Like, I'm having fun right now, but I'd have it more fun if I was playing with a friend. Have you ever played Diablo there, Hawaiian? No whipping me with your tail. No stabbing my feet. When you hear that crank sound, by the way, that's a trap. So, get away. Damn, my ravens fucked him up. It's a shame. I am excited though, they're supposed to be buffing summoning, so it'll be more useful later on. Because I was thinking about it, and I was like, oh man, summoning's good, but it probably doesn't scale. And that's sort of the issue. Like, if you dump all your points in it, it will stay sort of just decent at endgame, but it won't be exceptional endgame. Because it just doesn't scale appropriately. It's sort of like summoning is super amazing early on, and then endgame it's just kind of eh. But they're going to rebalance it. It's like, oh yeah, I played the third one with my boyfriend. Pretty nice and OP. Have not played in a while. Third one is very different though. I appreciate the third one because it's more accessible. It's more like just pick up and play. I call it like the party game Diablo. Diablo 2 is a little bit more complicated. So like you have stat points right from the get-go. And you have to make sure you build your character properly, and you can mess up building your character, and you can't respec. You get one free respec in the base game. And that's it. And that was only because of the expansion. When they reworked the skills, they're like, we'll give old players the ability to change their skills once. But they just made it for everybody. So it's like, yeah, we'll just make it so everybody can do it, so we're not singling people out. And yeah, so you get one respec. Diablo is definitely a game where you can just mess up building your character, and that's pretty much it. It's like, oh yeah, very different from the second, way more than the third. I meant the first. Oh, first is old school. First is good though. And yeah, the first is rather different. They're all rather different from one another. I'd say the most similar are the second and third. But like, yeah, they are very different. First is good old school fun though. Though, pretty damn hardcore. It's got more horror vibes. Diablo 2 equals get good. It's true. It's just a different time, you know? The RPGs were more for gamers, you know? Because they're very time consuming, so you need to commit, and thus it draws in the people who are playing video games a bunch. First is OG good, yes. Yes it is. But, like, in the first one, this would be pretty much my movement speed. I might be a little bit slower. One of the things I really like about the first, though, is that it was harder. So like when you came up to a group of enemies, you were like, oh, which was pretty much all the time because it's still Diablo, so you're fighting groups of stuff. And it's like you could handle it, but it was more like by the edge of your seat, like you were in it and you had to focus if you wanted to not die. More horror. And this one still has the horror vibes, but you feel a little bit more like a badass. And then the third one is just easy. It's mindlessly easy. Especially after they rebalanced it. Like, originally Diablo 3 actually did get hard for a moment. And then they rebalanced it so it never did. And that's sort of just my issue, it's just way too easy. Though that said, I've still managed to die a few times in Diablo. I was running into a wall because of Rubber Band. See, man, the third one now, it's like, meh. Groups are simple. Yeah. For real, though. But I don't hate it with friends. But specifically Diablo 3 is you play with friends. And it's like pick up. Couch play, it's like, yeah, let's just chill out, do something where we don't have to think much. Diablo 3. for me, I appreciate that because I don't drink or anything. So like when I hang out with friends, I like to have something to do that's not that. I know a lot of people mix alcohol and video games anyways, but it's nice for me to, like, since I don't drink, to have something else that I can do with my friends. Right? I don't hate it, but it's not as challenging anymore. Yeah. And it's just... because of that, it becomes very repetitive and mindless quickly. But I have a friend who actually prefers the third one over the others. I'm like, please explain. He's like, Diablo 2 just got boring after a while. I'm like, what? But don't get me wrong, I can kind of understand. Diablo 2 is very repetitive. I think the one thing Diablo 3 has going for it over these other two is Diablo 3 has an endgame. Sort of part of its problem, though, is Diablo 3 is more focused on the endgame. Like, you can't build your character into the endgame. And then in the endgame, you get stat points, and you can actually make a build and stuff like that. And then there's the rifts, which are randomized dungeons. But it's like, yes, there's an endgame, but part of the issue is the endgame's boring in the sense that it's just really repetitive. Diablo, by its nature, is repetitive, though. But at least, like, with this one, there's a story that's, like, driving me forward. I'm not just going through dungeon to dungeon, killing a bunch of monsters. Like, I'm trying to build a staff or whatever. Super basic stuff, but there's something else going on. True. Just like the rifts. Yeah. But I mean, it's still kind of nice to have something that you can do endgame other than replay the game again, get more loot, yada yada. It would be like, do these randomized dungeons that are... they can get hard. That's sort of when it starts to get hard, though. And that said, I don't think it'll ever be like the old school. Like Diablo 1, oof. Your mana didn't even regenerate in Diablo 1. Which made wizards, which is always the class I wanted to play as a kid. It's like, I want to be the wizard, but it's like your mana didn't regenerate. They kicked a lot of butt at the end of the game, though. But I like getting more powerful. LOL. I mean, it's true. I just think of it this way. It's sort of like when you get powerful in Elden Ring. It has more weight to it. Because you get powerful in this game. It just has more weight to it than, say, Diablo 3. Because in Diablo 3, it's like, well, everything was a breeze to begin with. And now it's just even more of a breeze. And this is like, oh, damn. Like, the beginning of this act was like, oof. I was getting my ass handed to me. And now I'm kind of wiping the floor with them. Just curb stop early game bosses and enemies. Yeah, pretty much. There's a lot of things. Little does he know, though, I can poison him and his friends. Gosh damn, I'm fucking shit up, though. But only as long as they don't have physical immunity, which they'll get later on. But that said, it's like, I don't really have a desire to keep playing this game character to infinity, you know? I kind of just want to beat it once and then be like, okay, move on to a different character type. So me, like... I don't know. I like making different characters. That's sort of my draw. So having like this big extensive endgame, it's like, I don't want to play this character forever. I mean, I'd be willing to play him in the new difficulties just because the new difficulties change things up. But at some point, I would just want to put a pin in it. Move on. You're overburdened. I'm overburdened. How do I get to those salamanders? I like how freaking buff those mummies are. They're like, I am jacked. Why did I pick up the bolts? I don't even want them. But I do. I want this maiden spear first. Because check. What? It's only for the Amazon. I mean, that makes sense with a name like the maiden spear. You like variety. This is true, Oneshot. I like variety. The issue being, it's hard for me to stick with one game long enough to beat it. But I'll work on that. I'm not sure if you were here at the very beginning of the stream, but it's actually the reason why I'm going to be doing Diablo 2 again on the channel, is I want to focus on doing the old games that I haven't beaten, and just beating them. Like, for example, I want to do this. I want to do Ace Academy. Finish that up. Part of the reason why I stopped Ace Academy was it wasn't getting a whole lot of attention. But it's like, I don't know, it's kind of a catch-22. If I don't finish games, I know people are less inclined to stick around because they're like, oh, he's not going to finish these games anyways. So I want to just finish shit up. Oh man, I want that longbow. Okay. Gotta put you in there. And we have to go back to town. But yes, I want to finish up more things. Particularly for the channel. Like, in my own time, if I don't finish games, don't care. That's not really my thing. But on the channel, I would like to be like, I did this. I finished this. I have to identify stiff.
Stay a while and listen.
You stay a while and listen, you old man. What is this? Excuse me. Dex 19, 22 strength, but 5 to 17 damage. That's interesting. It requires strength and dex. That's something that you don't see in a lot of like modern games too. Like this bow would just be like purely dex, as opposed to you'd have to like dump in the bow. Should I keep this spear? This is not a bad spear. The only issue is that you have to be an Amazon for it, which means it'd have to be a spear Amazon. Then again, I will save it. I do have this cool Amazon spear. Should I save this one? Oh. I do have this other one. Let's compare them. This is a lot of damage. But this is mostly good against the undead. It does add 7 poison damage, so that would be 30. I mean 20. So technically more than this. This does have the life stolen per hit. But I think this one's ultimately kind of better. Lifesteal's okay, but honestly, you get so many potions. Dark Souls just require a minimum amount of strength for dex weapons. That's true, but Dark Souls is also more an old school game design. That's sort of one of the drawing points to it, was it's like that old school mentality that's just been kind of given a more modern coat of paint, in quotation marks. There you go. Also, I think I'm going to finish up this dungeon and then I'm going to call it a stream. We've been going for about an hour. I got some homework I need to do before I call it a night. I'm already feeling kind of tired too. But we're only on the second floor, so we got a few more minutes at least. Can I climb up here? Oh, there we go. Never mind. That was the end of the dungeon. Okay, we'll go on for a little bit more. We'll at least get to the next dungeon.
Ah, yes. The sun warms the world once more.
And I made it so the sun came back. And I got this Amulet of the Viper, which is not bad. 10 life, 10 mana, poison resist 25. Just don't get attached to it because I literally can't keep it. This Sand Viper Temple was not a long dungeon at all. Okay, yeah, I'm already like almost to the third act with this character. No worries, homework needs to be done. Hope school is going well? It is. My lowest grade is a 93%.
But the Viper amulet you bear is actually the headpiece of a Horodric staff.
Horodric.
Yes.
Horodric.
You have an uncanny knack
Horodric,
for finding
there.
rare and valuable artifacts.
I'm not going
I've
to
been speaking
listen to him
with Lord
speak.
Jaren, and I sense that he is becoming more and more agitated by something. You should try to...
Oh yeah, now I get to go into the temple. This part's pretty fucked up, yo. So this is pretty cool. Cause like you can boom. And now I got this. Look at that, very fast. There's actually like if you're doing a werebear, this weapon is recommended for the werebear for as long as you can use it, because if it's really fast attack speed and the fact that werebears get damage buffs, this weapon's actually pretty damn sexy. Let's see. This is very fast. I think this is faster. Let's see, admittedly, the werewolf has a faster attack speed than the werebear. But here, I'll just show this off. So with this, I'm like that! As opposed to this. See, much quicker. That staff is ridiculous. In fact, you know what? Let's use it when I can. I do lose, like lifesteal and stuff. It's technically a lot less damage, but that attack speed should make up for it.
Researching the old records, trying to find the location of Tal Rasha's tomb. Though I haven't found the tomb itself, I may have a good lead for you. The great Vigerai summoner, Horizon, built his arcane sanctuary somewhere around here. He was a powerful spellcaster and kept demons as slaves within...
So I have to find the sanctuary. Let's see. I have to keep talking with people around here? Oh no, I finished the Tainted Sun. Awesome. Don't know what I got for it, but I finished it.
Good day.
What do you have to say?
Excellent. You have a Horodric staff.
I do.
Carry it with you into Tal Rasha's tomb. Find within the tomb the chamber whose floor is inset with the Circle of Seven symbol.
Oh, right. So I put the staff there and it tells me which way I need to go. But alright, so like run over here. And this guy's, oh shit, stuff's happening.
Troubles began here. I allowed the terrified harem guilds to join me within the safety of the palace. All was fine until one night. Screams echoed up the stairwells from the harem. My guards arrived to find the poor girls being slaughtered by a merciless band of hell-spawned demons.
So freaky. Those poor prostitutes.
You may enter the palace.
Thanks. But now I get to enter this palace. To the harem. I don't remember what I'm doing. Well, I know I'm here to expunge the demons. But otherwise than that, I don't remember how this connects to the end of the act. I think it leads me to the... I don't know. Let's see. Whoa! Sheebus, nice job, my guy. No worries. Homework needs to be done. Sheebus? What's Sheebus? Sorry. I'm confused. And this is what this looked like originally. Damn, it's so interesting and very jarring. Also, that's not really how it looked like originally. I have those two things on. So this is more like how it looked like originally. The music is updated though. Don't remember like that Arabic chanting. Okay, now let's go back. That attacks me. So, one of the major benefits well, particularly to werewolfism, is increased attack speed, but no matter what, you sort of want to have quick attacking weapons when you play a shapeshifter druid, which usually means that you use two-handed weapons and yada yada. They have recently changed that though. So they made it so a wider variety of weapons are useful for shapeshifters, because it used to be that you're using a very specific subset of weapons, and they wanted to make it so you just had more options, which I agree with. And they did a good job. But like mechanically speaking, the werewolf hits faster but not as hard, and the werebear hits harder but not as fast. But that said, the werebear with this staff still attacks around the speed, but has like massive damage buffs. So it's pretty insane. But see that, I was like, oh, it's so ridiculous, but it's amazing. Especially since you don't hit with every attack, so it's nice to just like overwhelm them. Does my rabies do a percentile of my attack though? 34 to 61. No, I think it just does its damage on its own. Get him. I need to summon more ravens. That's back to level 1. Right, like Oneshot said. I said, Shivas equals Jesus. Oh, gotcha. I said Shivas instead of Jesus. That was for your grade. Very nice job. Oh, thank you. You know, I would have never have guessed. I'm not going to lie. But that's just because there's a YouTuber. I'm not sure if you've heard of Shweeby. They're not like super famous, but they're in my friend group. Yeah. So when he said Shivas, I'm like, Shweeby? Sweetie Jesus? Man, that staff. But I'm going to go back to this. The scythe is honestly not a bad weapon either. I'm losing some attack speed, but I'm killing them in less hits, so I'm not sure if that balances out. Look at all this money! But yeah, my other grades are like high 90s though. I actually have a class that I was getting over 100% for a while because of extra credit. Not to brag. Honestly, I just want to raise up this one. Not that a 92 is bad, but I'd like to have a GPA closer to 4 to finish off my bachelor's degree. I'm just worried that I'll end up getting like a B and then I'll be like, ah. Also, it'd be nice if I got valedictorian. I'm not sure if I'm in position to get it with where I'm at right now. Just because, like, I'm doing well now, but before, earlier on my college, I was getting more, like, B's and stuff. So I'm not sure if my overall GPA is sufficient for me to get valedictorian now. But it'd be nice to maybe get it. So I'd like to just get that grade up. Not to seem like an overachiever or anything, but it would be good for the next step, whatever I do, to be like, hey, look how amazing I did in college. They'd be like, dude, very nice. Especially since I do not have money to pay for medical school. I will need help with it, so it will make it more likely for me. What am I studying? I'm studying biology. Just general bio for now, but now I'm in the Palace Center. It's pretty fucked up that these demons just killed these girls, though. Like, goddamn. I mean, killing any sort of innocent is fucked up, regardless of gender. Just really, like, it's freaky. It's just very disturbing to me because, like, they stayed here to stay safe. How the hell did the demons get in here? So freaky. Because it's just like, I'm hanging out at home, right? And all of a sudden, next thing I know, there's demons in my goddamn basement. These guys hit pretty damn hard. Yes, keep me alive, Ravens, please. God damn. I love the Ravens. Because, yeah, it takes them a few seconds, but they don't die. They just will attack until the job's done. The only issue will come later on when enemies have physical immunities. Though, a lot of the, like, mods for Diablo 2 make it so your summons do other damage types as well. I feel that's to keep them viable even in the end game. Which is fine. I think they should just make it so they have a little bit of a bypass feature. Or potentially, if you invest enough points into them, they can start to bypass immunities. Man, these guys hit very hard, though. Did I ever level up? Huh. I could have sworn I leveled up earlier and I never put points into anything, but... Hell yeah, I got the Palace Cellar. Which means I can come right back here. Waypoints are always the best, because it means that you have made progress. Resist fire. Not sure how good this is in here. I imagine it's pretty good. I like the fact that the crows can just fly in there and attack them, and they literally can't do shit about it. They're like, oh my god, we're dying! How do I get in here? Oh, I see how I get in that room. Bit awkward. I have to go like up and around. There we go. Help? Never mind, I have no idea how to get into this room. It's probably a secret door. It looks like I get in there from up top, but I just was there and I couldn't figure it out. Okay. Right here. Oh, I see, it doesn't go in there. I feel like I'm trying to reveal illusionary wall in frickin' Elden Ring. One of these things that I hit will open up. Or maybe not. I give up. That said, given enough time, my ravens will kill them anyways. Also, I like how tanky my friend is. Like, my minion. He hasn't died on me once. Hasn't even come close, which is not to say that it won't happen. But he also has an aura that will heal me. That's why I have him on my team. He keeps me and my pets alive, and I appreciate that. Stopped shooting my wolves. Where did he go? He got like stuck. There he is. Didn't mean to run in here. It's okay. Oh, I leveled up. Let's see. Do I want to do rabies? Damn, 52 to 82. Just with 3 points. Rabies is pretty damn strong. Could also do the wolves. Or another point into the ravens. Choices, choices. I think I will do... the ravens. They're starting to disappear on me pretty quickly. Oh, damn! One more point and they're wrecking house. Those demons did not stand a chance. Holy shit. I was expecting them to be like a little bit more stronger. Not like freaking ballin'. I just wonder how this build is going to perform on the hardest difficulties, which is why I want to get it there. Because part of me just feels like people wrote off Ravens because it's like, oh, they're low damage and they don't last too long, blah blah blah. When really they could have been a sleeper build. Did you go to college there, Wyan? Are you still in college, Oneshot, or are you done? That is a lot of lightning arrows. I do not want to be in that room. I'm unfortunately still at college. But isn't this your last semester? I had to drop a class. Uh-oh. What happened?
I can't carry anymore.
So you still have a class semester. Nah, it didn't go. Boyfriend got his bachelor's for game art. That's awesome, though. I have a friend who went for game design, and he's currently designing video games, and that is like, I'm super proud of him. So he got overwhelmed by the material. You know, that happens, man. Is it going to be your only class next semester, though? And when it comes to life, you know, there's no right pace either. You gotta do things on your own pace. It might stink to have to take another semester, but if it was just too much for you to handle this time around, yeah, only class. But the good news for that is it allows you to focus solely on that. So maybe the next time, with your experience and the ability to just focus on it, it won't be as overwhelming. Oh, I gotta focus. I did not want to be in this room. That said, my wolves are fucking beasts. I didn't lose a single one of them to that. Damn. Oh man, I love them so much. I don't want to lose them. Like, the shame is if they really just don't translate well to high-end play. My guy leveled up. Hell yeah, badass. Found a broad axe? Broad axe? I barely knew her. Interesting. So, a little bit more damage. A lot more damage. Slightly slower. I don't get the mana stolen on hit. My gloves give me that, but my gloves are honestly rather old and will not last much longer. But let's see. I'm doing 29 to 37 damage. $41 to 82. Sorry. Okay. It is a lot more damage though. Let's see. I'm working a job too, working a speckless janitor, brooder job, but pays well for unskilled labor. Looks I'm getting promoted in a little while. I don't know when exactly. I'm not on the top of the list to get promoted, but I'm not on the bottom either.
It is an honor to serve you.
Excuse me. I mean, that's true. But the thing is, you have the job now, so it's still less overall work this upcoming semester. Oh, that 20 poison damage could have been good. But it's like, nope, gotta sell it. But that's like 10 poison damage a second. I'll keep it. And the double axe is one-handed, by the way. For if you want to use a shield and stuff. Which I did just get a really kick-butt shield. I kind of want to use it, but it's not really this build. It's not really a tanky build I got going on. So many jewels in my inventory. I feel so slow, this axe. But that's just because I'm used to very quick weapons at the moment. Magic damage reduced by 1, as opposed to resistance is 5. I think though resistance is 5 is better. What's this? Skill shrine? Oh heck yeah. How much damage is my 73 to 105? Holy shit. Rabies is a pretty damn sexy skill, to be honest. Like how long I can run. Here. Oh. Oh, yeah.
This was not designed by nature's architect.
Hell no, it wasn't. Arcane Sanctuary. So this is the second to last part. So I go through here, I find a symbol, which is what I need to locate when I leave the dungeon. Like, when I leave this dungeon, I'll find a bunch of tombs that have different symbols. And the symbol that I don't see in this dungeon is the door that I have to go through. And then that's the act boss for Act 2, and then I'm on to Act 3. Which means I'm like halfway through this game. Then again, it's taking me a while to get here. I like how it can poison ghosts, though. Does that make sense? No. Does it need to make sense? No. Hey, no setting me on fire, you asshat. Can I not run up the stairs? I can. Okay, that was weird. I like how the bones fall, but they're still like right there. They're just like lying on top of the void. Also, if you have teleportation or jumping skills, it makes navigating this area much easier, because you can just jump around. Oh, and just for fun, this is what this area looked like in the original. So weird and jarring to go back. Mostly because the FPS. I don't know how much FPS it is. Clearly not 60 though. Or even close. So let's go back. But that and the sounds are different. One thing is I noticed that there's more footprint sounds in the original. Because their feet was more like boop 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 boop. I like going back though. See? Supposed to hear. Oh, you kinda hear. They look there, they're just like, Gotta be careful, goddamn. They did a lot of damage. Alright. I went quite a bit longer than I was expecting to, though. But we finished that last dungeon, and we're going to call it here. I don't think I'm going to stream this character again. This was mostly because I wanted to build up some hype for the return with a Oneshot and Goth Goofy, and we're going to go back because we did a series a long time ago. I've tried it a few times since. Well, like a few times before or whatever. But yeah, we're going to play through this game. We're going to beat it, or at least beat Diablo. Yeah. Let's see. But otherwise than that, thank you, the both of you, for joining me. I hope you have a beautiful whatever. And yeah, see you later.